And now I see that we have Brother Shibu Thomas with us, and he's our today's keynote speaker of persecution relief. And persecution relief is dedicated to helping the church in India and monitors violence against followers of Christ in India. And without further delay, I invite Brother Shibu Thomas to deliver the keynote speech. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, Brother Sagar and Daniel and the entire team. It's an honor and privilege. And before I start, I just want to thank all the Indians who have started this initiative, staying in Australia, having the burden of the persecuted church in India. That itself is a great vision. And I thank God that the Lord has stirred up your heart and your spirits to stand with the persecuted church. So on behalf of the persecuted church in India, I take this opportunity to thank all the people who are taking this pain and creating that awareness among your people staying there in Australia as we are accessing the 75th year of Indian independence. I definitely believe that, as Daniel said, the 70 years of captivity is finished. And we are again coming back with a bang to rebuild the temple of the Lord or the kingdom of God in this nation, India. The more Pharaoh tries to suppress the people of Israel in Egypt, the rebound was so solid that one night Moses just took off 30 lakh above people just in one night. So I expect a solid rebound as the nation are in deep cries across the globe. The Indians are praying for the current situation, what we are facing in India. So I thank God at least this nation has have an awareness now, not only Indians living in India, but across the globe. When I started in 2015, persecution relief, I was very worried because the awareness as far as in the churches or the organizations were concerned, it was not there. Now everybody is trying to play a role as far as helping the persecuted church is concerned, and that has to organizations like persecution, hundreds of organizations like persecution relief needs to step up and stand because the requirement is huge. God gave us the privilege to handle more than 3,800 odd cases since 2015, which I personally had communicated with these persecuted people. And persecution relief is an interdenominational initiative to provide comprehensive support to the persecuted church in India. And we provide financial, prayerful, political, and judicial support to the persecuted church in India. Before I speak anything from the word, I just want to take you through the work of persecution relief. I'm not putting any PowerPoint. I'll just quickly speak and move on. Persecution relief, as I said, we started in 2015. I am by profession a businessman. One day I was sitting in the US in my house. The Lord spoke to me to help the persecuted church, and I absolutely had no clue what persecution is because I've never been involved in any persecution as such because of my faith. And the Lord convicted me, and it took a very long time between the Lord and myself to come to a conclusion where I need to do this work because I was absolutely not interested. And the Lord just, as David got the blueprint to make the temple, the Lord gave me exactly the blueprint, how to work, what to do, what will be the organization name, and all these things he just said. And we started the work, and I thank God that we made a website, put the content in the website. We had a donation page in the website. Then the Lord spoke to me that it's very, why is the donation page there? I have given you the mission. I will provide what is needed. And I said, how will I do the ministry without funds? So he said, I will provide. So I took off the donation page, and then later on, the Lord spoke to me that it's very easy to do mission with somebody else's hard-earned money. Why don't you empty yourself? And to be very honest, I was 48 years that time, well settled in life. I had retired actually 8 years before. I had some properties which I've leased out to corporate companies, and whatever money I got, I was living with that. But the Lord said empty, and 48 years of hard work. I was with the corporate company. I was heading the HCL operations for India. At a very young age, I think at around 29 years, I was heading the India operations for HCL, which launched the computers and photocopiers in India for the first time. And living in that comfort zone, the Lord asking me to give everything off to the persecuted church was very painful in the beginning. And ultimately, I had no choice. I had to go down and say, like Job, that you gave it to me, I give it back to you. So that's how I started the ministry. And since 2015, by the grace of God, Persecution Relief has never sold a persecuted story or a picture or anything, or we have never asked for funds till this moment. And I'll tell you one thing, that God has never stopped a single work of ours because of finances. He had been so faithful that the people who are listening, I would like to just encourage, if the Lord has given you the ministry, He will provide everything what is needed. And that's how we started the ministry. And we have a massive network across India. We have more than 200 sisters as volunteers who come every morning at Indian time, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and pray for the persecuted church. Every day we bring out prayer points of persecution into 15 different languages. By 12 o'clock night, we just finalize these prayer points, and these are all done by the volunteers. 15 languages we have prayer points which we send across to the nation. I thank God that we could at least create an awareness across the nation. And I just thank God for the privilege He had given us to reach this nation, India. In Acts 21st chapter, it says, one thing I would like to, the reaction of the Indian Christians towards persecution, that is deteriorating, and there is a sense of vengeance or retaliation, or speaking out that we have to teach them a lesson. So there are many organizations who are pushing these persecuted people to file counter FIRs and force the people. I have gone through many pastors who are so messed up in court cases because of this counter FIRs, where they had been called to minister as pastors in village scenarios where the Lord has handpicked them, sent them with a purpose to work as a pastor, shepherding the sheep which has been handed over. And when they get involved in these cases, they get so lost in this. Already the financial crunch is there. Number two, there is a case. Number three, in the village scenario where there are a handful of people, followers, when they fight, you create a big gulf in the village. And instead of going with the teaching of Jesus that forgive your persecutors, pray for the persecutors, unconditionally forgive. Peter coming and telling that he asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive? 70 times 7, 490 times. So that attitude of Christians at many places, it's a vengeance. As God said, vengeance belongs to me. I will take because you are persecuted because of me, because of the kingdom's sake. So it's my responsibility to pay back for whatever they are doing to you. He is not a God who has eyes but can't see. He's not a God who has ears but can't hear our cries. He knows that if a hair is being fallen from my head, how much more He knows when you suffer any pain.